Hello, everybody, and welcome to BlackOut TV. My name is Stinsnout, and I'm your host for tonight's ETF2L Highlander Season 11 playoff preview show. We got the John on the camera. 2016 is almost over, but we have one last highlight for you lined up tonight here on BlackOut TV. I'm joined by my marvelous guests tonight. First of all, we have our engineer and leader of Super Dickman's Canoe and henceforth referred to as STCK, Clark. We got leader and heavy for the budget toucans, Mackie.
Hello.
The co-leader, as I think it is, and Pyro for Chess Club Sinrise.
Yep.
And the only person on Twitch I am subscribed to, leader and medic, YouTube stream star, and trader main CJ.
Yo.
This is my first time hosting a live show, guys, so, excuse me for any hiccups they're gonna be appearing. I'm gonna try my best here tonight. Tonight we're gonna look back on the regular season of Highlander Season 11 powered by TT Esports. We're gonna look forward to the playoffs. And in the end, we're gonna try to predict what's gonna happen in the playoffs. We're gonna have a little game where after the season we're gonna probably meet up again for the award show and see who was right and who wasn't, and who ends up where. We're gonna more talk about the state of the teams, not so much about individual players. That's what we're gonna do with the award show at the end. One thing though, before we start this cast and this talk show, spoiler alert: there is gonna be a lot of results flying around, a lot of, analyzing tables and all that stuff. So if you haven't watched the games yet and you want to do that on YouTube, you should probably turn off your PC or at least the stream right now. Alright? Moving forward, just diving into the first topic right here, which was also the, kind of the only drama of the season, is right after the first week, the team The Bureau dropped after losing to the Toucans. So, my first question goes out to Mackie here, who is the leader of the Toucans, and the Toucans are obviously the brother team of Bureau and played against them. From your point of view, do you have any insight, why Bureau just dropped it, like right at the start of the season, and, how did this go down from your side of things?
So first of all, that the game we played, it was upward. It was a really close game. The rounds, the rounds that we won, they were really, really close rounds, and then the round that they won, they completely rolled us. So it was really baffling why they folded, because it wasn't as if they played like really badly or anything. I think they were just expecting to have quite an easy game against us, but obviously that didn't happen. Kronos was talking to me afterwards, and he said that he wasn't really like enjoying TF2 that much anymore, and he also said Cooley couldn't really commit to playing that much. So I think that's why a lot of them just like thought it was better not to play. But it kind of annoyed me, because it was kind of like, oh, we lost to Toucans. This is it. Like, it can't get worse than this,
It sounds a little bit degrading too, like just because you lost one game, it's no reason to drop. I've been thinking today, preparing for this, what impact did the drop of Bureau have for like the other teams and the season, CJ? As Bureau was kind of like a contestant, maybe even for the grand finals. They were kind of the secret challenger of strong opinions. Like, how do you think this drop like influenced the other teams in the way they scrimmed or even like looked at the season?
I think it made the playoffs a lot more cut and dry by the end of the season, because at the start, like at the preseason show, we talked about pretty much every team except for possibly juniors and stacked were looking like they could actually get into playoffs. But in the end, with the Bureau dropping, that basically just meant 5 teams into 4 slots rather than 6 into 4. So in the end, the only real excitement towards the end of the season was when Toucans had to come against Premtech, and obviously there was the last spot on the line between those two teams, and Toucans beat Premtech, so they won. So it kind of made it slightly more, like, less competitive, I should say, for those playoff spots, because I think Bureau would have been one of the teams to contest. Whether or not they would have been like the closest team to contest for the title come the end of the season, I don't know. Just based on their previous season, like, they hadn't done well in UGC. Like, they'd lost to Super Dickmans a couple of times, and they'd lost to us. And then they didn't play playoffs. Like, they backed out of it in the end. And the Blackout Invitational and stuff, they lost to a couple of teams. So, it would have made it a more interesting season, I feel. But in the end, I think it just meant that it was easier for the teams to get into playoffs than it would have been before.
Yeah, exactly. So Sinrise, when you heard of the drop of Bureau, were you like, were you happy about it because you knew that you're gonna have like, an easier season, or how did you look at it?
Not really. I mean, I want to play every game, but I was happy about them dropping because we could pick up their scout funds in our team. We were really looking for a scout. He helped a bunch. So what I find shitty is that it happened in the first week. There were so many teams that tried to get into Prem. Like, I think we were with 8 teams or something. And then the first week a team drops, and then like I found it really shitty for Joe's team, for Fela. They should have like taken their spot in some way.
Yeah, I mean, this is also a good segue, the Bureau dropping, because I want to talk next about the surprises that happened, during the course of the season. When I dove into this topic today, there were a couple of games standing out to me where I didn't think people expected them to go this way. Obviously, Toucans versus Bureau, like we just talked about. Also, SDCK losing to Toucans and to their brother team Juniors. Clark, what happened there? Like, did you not take them seriously enough, or was the motivation not high enough? Did you underestimate them maybe?
Against juniors, definitely there was a certain level of underestimation, especially from some of our players, some of our combo players. But in the end, they just played well. They've played well for the entire season, I thought. Especially in the end, they picked all 6 points from Chess Club. And basically, Nate approached me before the chess game, said you need to win against Strong Opinions because we will win against chess, and then you can get a second place. And we couldn't win against Strong Opinions, unfortunately, but they did get 6 points out of them, so they did their end of the deal. So yeah, I thought they played really well. We could have gotten more points out of them, but in the end, didn't really happen.
Did you like go over the games that you played and ask yourself how do you lose these games? Because you were obviously, in my books, you were with the Bureau, maybe even a team that could maybe make the grand finals, having actually beaten Strong Opinions in the UGC grand finals previously. So it must have been a disappointment for you guys to end up losing to these teams. How did you deal with that? Did you like sit down in Mumble and talk about it, or did you like whatever, we're gonna make playoffs and then we're gonna try out from there?
Yes, we did have like a little sit down, basically thinking our options, and we told ourselves we need to make sure we get points from all the remaining games, and we did. As soon as we got 3 points from Chess Club, we thought, okay, we got it, we can do playoffs easily, and yeah, we pulled ourselves back together. We got Dima back because we missed him for the majority of the season. We missed him for the juniors game, for stacked game, and Toucan's game as well. And he's a big part of the team. He's a really flank soldier. He doesn't really go from the flank a lot. And Nation is like a frag chaser. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it didn't really work for us because we expect him to be on flank. So when we get Dima back, we certainly brought a certain level of stability back to the team and started winning games again.
Right. So Sunrise, real quick, I want to talk about this game against the juniors in week 7, which I had the pleasure of casting with Jake Hawaii on BlackOut TV. I don't think a lot of people expected you to lose 6-0 against the juniors on like such a standard map. And I talked a little bit to Hildreth about it after the game, and he was pretty pissed to say the least. What happened there? And did you just collapse in the comms, or did you like? I don't think you really underestimated them, because they had proven that they can play TF2 at that point. So talk me through the mood in Mumble, and what happened in that game.
Okay, I think we just had a really shitty day.
Really shitty day.
They were they're a good team, definitely, but we had roster issues like all season. But the last 2 weeks we had to play with a different heavy, Sandwich, who is a great heavy, but we didn't adapt well to his play style. And it's not only him. I mean, nobody was playing good that game against XDCK. But we have to learn from it, and I don't know, shit happens. I will try to avoid it in the playoffs, I guess.
Okay.
And about the Mumble, I mean, yeah, people were like down because we lost. Like, we should have won that game, but I don't know. You just talk it over and go to the next game.
It's not like you collapsed because of that game or something. Like the Bro did.
No, definitely not collapsing. No. Well, you sometimes you lose in competitive games, and I mean, if you shout at each other, you're just gonna make it worse.
That's true.
To be fair, I'm sorry, Simpson. To be fair,
yeah, sure.
Just to get back at Bureau for just a second, everybody's saying how they were surprised they folded, but I personally wasn't, because I rewatched the streams of when they played in the preseason cup, and they played scrims, and the atmosphere in Mumble was really, really bad. And I thought, okay, if they're gonna lose points in the first couple of games, they're gonna fold for sure.
To be fair, their atmosphere's always been like that when I've watched their VODs.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well.
Yeah, the general atmosphere has always been kind of like that. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, it's not a surprise that if you have that negativity all the time, then something bad happening might cause you to fold. But
they always played like really on edge, and it helped them, I think, a lot of the times. But when it goes bad, it goes bad way hard. So bad.
Yeah, it kind of backfires at you in the end.
Didn't you try to revamp the team, Stinson?
Yeah, basically from what I gathered was that I hung out in Mumble comms for the Tukens game, and even during the game, having already lost a round, they were like, I joined the Mumble after they lost the round, the first round to Tukens, and they were like, I was like, guys, what's up? You have to get your shit together. And they were like, yeah, we're just playing with the Tukens, giving them a round because they're our buddies and all that stuff. So even during the game, they were not even, they didn't consider losing an option. And I think it was just a matter of underestimating your opponent. And they got what they deserved for that game. So I didn't really understand why they were folding afterwards. I think Kronos was just pissed, and he was fed up with TF2. He should have said that before the season, though, in order to let his team know, or either drop out before the season even started. He told me I can have the start because I was backup for him, but obviously Kronos has been a big part for this team for like a long time. So, and people got pissed because he basically told them in Steam after the game, yes, I'm not gonna play anymore. Stinson's gonna take over, have fun, or something like that. And that people got salty about it, and I tried to save it, I talked to everybody individually, but basically what happened, there was a domino effect that Doom left because he thought we were folding, but we weren't really, because I had everybody playing, but because Doom left, then I think Yahoo left, and then, everybody left. So, yeah, I did try my best there to at least keep the season alive. I'm not sure if we would have made playoffs. Obviously, I've not played a whole season as a medic yet, but I would have liked to continue and have some fun, but they didn't want that. But enough of this, of the past and of this nonsense. I want to quickly go over to the teams that have not made playoffs. We have talked about the juniors already, and I think it's fair to say that it has been a successful season for them. Just missing this fourth playoff spot. But I want to talk about Premtech, which has annoyed me this season because of all the name changes. And Stacked real quick. So I've talked about I looked at the roster today, and especially for Premtech, they have Maito, they have Kaltu, Ferry, Justice, Grangerbob. Like, these are really good players. What do you think? Why don't these teams find success in these Highlander seasons, CJ?
The thing with Premtech is that when their roster has been different every single season they've played. Like Maito is basically the only the only remaining factor from season 6 or 7 whenever they started out. So the team that everyone always talked about, which had Shadowburn and Saini, Cobbs and Nursey, Kresnik, that was arguably the best Premtech ever was when they finished runners up to chess. Since then, it's just been Maito putting people together. But this season, I actually thought it was different because their combo stayed together as Maito, Kaltu, and Connor on Medic. And the other players were really experienced players. Like Grangerbob's arguably one of the best spies Highlanders had. Mist is a really, really good sniper. I'm trying to think of the rest of their players. They're Justice, really solid soldier. Legal on Scout, really strong. Like, they're a really strong roster. And there's always the ongoing meme of, oh, we're not going to scrim this season. We're just playing officials. But they did scrim because, I'm sure the other team people here can say, we've scrimmed them during the season. So we know they have.
Yeah,
okay. We scrimmed them once or twice. And to be fair, when they turned up, they did have the majority of their roster. And they didn't throw out meme rosters. If they couldn't play with, a decent number, then they tell me in advance and cancel. So, it's disappointing for them, but they tried their best. They got points off Super Dickmans, which for them is, Super Dickmans were one of the favourites at that point of the season.
Where?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the start of the season, you guys are really, really hyped up. So at that point, it was still kind of like a surprise. And then obviously, they still had a chance to get into playoffs. It was just Toucans on the night were better, and over the course of the season, they've just been better than them. So I think Premtech should be quite proud of themselves. It's just they were lacking that cutting edge, I guess, because we saw in the preseason tournament, in the Invitational, they finished third, and they beat teams like Chess and stuff like that. So they were a strong team. It's just I think other teams have got that kind of finishing touch, whereas that's just all they were missing. But yeah, I mean, they were the best team outside of the playoffs, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Stacked right now. It kind of surprised me that pretty much everyone in this preseason show kind of assumed Stacked would finish last, even behind all the newbies, Toucans, Juniors, and SDCK. But they're proven right. But I can't really see why. I mean, they have some experienced players as well, obviously Beep, Susie on Heavy, Hearts on Soldier, who has played a really good role and fair enough in the earlier seasons. Even got, I think, improvements from America, like with Chickaboo on Engineer here. Pineapple on Sniper was really dominant when I scrimmed against him. So, I mean, Stacked, why do you think that Stacked couldn't really get any points, really? I don't think they won a game. They just found a tie against somebody. I can't remember who. Actually, yeah. So, how come, Beep, after, I think, sitting one season out, couldn't really get his mint together?
If I could say that, maybe, I don't know if you guys noticed, but whenever Beep was healing anyone, he'd be healing Susie, and he would kind of essentially make their demo man Thea irrelevant to the combo, and they never really had any damage because of this. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I was talking to Thea after the season, and he said that Beep has a specific idea of how to play the game, and he didn't really care about what Thea wanted to say about the game. So they kind of played with that idea, and it didn't really work out for them real well.
I think, I said this in the preseason show, maybe a few weeks, a month before the season started, I would say Stacked were the most informed team, because the only other teams that were playing in Europe were just UGC, and even then it was mostly just mixes in officials. But Beep actually put together the roster. he had AMS on scout, he was pounding, and they had this like lineup that was planned out, and they were actually doing really well, and they were getting good results against, playoff level teams. And if the season had been like, let's say, underway and everyone was playing at that level, then they would have been in the playoffs without a doubt. But the difference was that everyone else started practicing and getting back up to their previous level, and Stacks went the other way. And whereas like Beep had done the right decision in the past, he's always relied on these top sixes players like Sorex and Josh and stuff like that. He actually put together a decent Highlander team with some actual Highlander players. So that was definitely an improvement. But what Mackie said is right. Like they play a really, really kind of old style where Susie, like on heavy, gets so much heals. You can see it on the stat spreadsheet, like how like the percentage of heals that he gets on heavy. So I just think in general that, and like players leaving the roster, like they changed a number of players throughout the season. Like, I think they played with 3 different snipers, and then AMS couldn't play scout, and then Hearts couldn't play a couple of games, and I think that just it just fell apart for them after the first couple of weeks.
I hope they can. Yeah, I hope they can keep their roster, like their semi-roster. I think they're a good team, and they can stay in Prem. I think.
Yeah,
definitely
same.
better than a lot of high teams.
Obviously with Bro folding, they're still gonna be like technically demoted to high, but I'm sure they're
Well,
gonna
no, they
try.
still play the
relegations.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beep was talking to me, and he was saying they're not going to scrim again, but they like until the playoffs. So they are actually going to be playing the relegation playoffs. So to be fair, like I don't know, I know Failer like we're top of high at the moment.
Failer is winning, yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I mean it all depends on who they come against, but I reckon that would be a very interesting game because
sure.
I reckon Stacked, like Sinray said, I think they got a decent roster, and they come back next season, they could be, something to work on for them.
They have a lot of 6 snipers on their team.
Yeah, like 2 of them.
Too many.
Ones.
Too many snipers.
Yeah, the thing is also with the playoffs, high and Prem, it sometimes is redundant because the teams don't really exist by the time the next season actually starts, or they have changed too much of their roster, so they have to actually compete in the preseason playoffs again. So it's gonna be an entertaining game. It's gonna be interesting to see who is coming out ahead of there, but not necessarily the team that wins there is gonna advance into Prem automatically. Leaving behind the regular season now, though, and looking at the playoffs, at this point we have talked quite a bit about the Toucans and SDCK. So
did we?
Yeah, we did.
We talked about how you lost the team you shouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
Right.
we talked about how you lost everything and how you were disappointed in Clark and Engineer.
Alright.
Yeah, but I'm gonna start with Club here, who finished second in the regular season after actually having extreme roster issues the whole season. I just looked into it today, and I saw that you played your 6 games with 6 completely different rosters, or not completely, but different rosters. You never had one roster 2 games. You played with 4 different demos, with Hildreth, Kalis, Fungi, and Ediski at some point actually. And talk me through, is this roster gonna be stable for the playoffs? Are you gonna be like try-harding? Did you think about how you approach these playoffs? And what is your goal for these games coming up?
Well, yeah, we had roster issues like throughout all the season. The first week was like it came too early for us. The match versus Strong Opinions. We just used it to trial other people. We didn't find a demo man until week 6, but then Bacon couldn't play anymore, and then for the rest, conflicting. I think people had other things to do, I guess. But I hope we can get a stable roster. I know that Onkaya probably won't play this month; he was unavailable. But for the rest, we should have Bacon back. We should have Hildreth on demo man. So I think we can put up a semi-stable roster.
Yeah, I just remember I actually cast the week 1 match of yours against Strong Opinions where you obviously lost, but I think at this point you didn't even have a medic, didn't even have a soldier and a scout.
Yeah, we were still for medic. We were still like deciding on Fragmented or Rough, and we ended up with Fragmented, who is technically the best medic I've ever played with. I had to say that. He forced me.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with the medic talent this season. Watching a couple of the games, so I don't really know what to say there. But I think funds, picking up funds was huge for you guys after the World.
He's a big player for us.
He's putting up big numbers, yeah.
I think not having him also in the last game really hurt us. We played with Maros, who wasn't really didn't really know what to do as a scout on Badwater. I think it would have been another game with funds around.
Obviously, you lost the sniper of the last season, season 10, Flo, right at the beginning, who also was somewhat of a leader, a war ranger. But I guess picking up Tracker is fine as well, right?
Yeah, Flo quit because of he had no motivation to play anymore. He plays Overwatch now. But Tracker is a worthy substitute. I think he's doing really well.
Okay, so you say Bacon's back for the playoffs? Because what I gather, Sandwich doesn't play TF2 anymore. His account is blacklisted on ETF2L on his own request. So, Heavy is gonna be a spot to fill there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Sandwich, I think he has a problem with his hands. If he plays games for too long, it starts to hurt. And I also was losing interest in TF2. But I spoke to Bacon today, and I'm hoping he can play in the beginning of January. So let's hope, because he's a big player for us with our playstyle.
Alright, everybody direct your prayers to God so that Chess Club may finally have a combo here for the playoffs. Moving on to the absolute favorites of the playoff bracket here, the strong opinions, obviously two-time defending champions,
I thought
champions. Budgetukins? No. Budgetukins are gonna be later. Recently, I think not even dropping a map for like 4 months is strong opinions. What I'm thinking about is there a danger of overconfidence, CJ? How do you, or do you even have to motivate your team for the playoffs? Is it like business as usual? Like whatever, we win, we lose, we don't really care about it, or do you guys feel pressure about the upcoming playoffs?
No pressure. No, I mean it's playoffs. You go in and you just play. Like it's not. Obviously we were motivated to win. Everyone just wants to win at the end of the day. So that's all the kind of motivation we need. Everyone, we've got the same roster we've always had. Like ever since we played in Prem, we've had the same players. The only difference is Ali plays now instead of Corv. But yeah, like everyone just wants to win. Everyone wants to just sort stuff out and just get on with the games. That's it, really. I mean, obviously, this season has been a bit weird because we've not lost anything, but that just shows that what we're doing is right, I guess, and we just have to keep doing that and just move on.
There's always the danger of if you win everything that you feel like you can't be beaten. Do you think that could be an issue, or do you still go as hard as when you joined the league or the Prem division rather?
Well, we still try our hardest. It's not like we're sitting back doing nothing. We know that if we turn up with our players and we play well, then we'll win. Like I think that's not a problem. I think that's just us being confident in our own abilities. So I don't know. I mean, at the start, when we were in Season 9, we thought with our roster and we started scrimming and we were beating everyone in scrims, we thought, yeah, we're unbeatable. Like, this is going to be easy. And then we dropped a map to Highlander and then we lost to Chess. And then we had to kind of sit down and be like, okay, it's not easy. We actually do have to scrim and concentrate and work on what where we go wrong, which is what we are always doing. So I think that's just been the improvement since Season 9. It's just we just kind of work on our mistakes, and I think as the seasons go on, the mistakes get less. So yeah, hopefully that just means we just keep improving.
They still don't take the success for granted. That's what you say.
No. We're still trying. We're still scrimming. Like we still practice, we still go over stuff. It's just we're just doing the same as we've always done, and
The routine.
yeah.
That's good.
I mean, when you play with
can...
the same people all the time, then...
Exactly. I was gonna say, when you have the same people and the same roster over like months and months, and then there's just a lot of things that work automatically for you. Moving on to another team that has been staying together for quite a while, measuring in Highlander team time, is the Toucans. I had the overwhelming pleasure to work for you guys yesterday in a scrim against the STCK guys. I've had greater games, but talk me through how this is your first playoff appearance because you were the first time in Prem. Are you guys nervous? Did you talk about the playoffs, like the team goals, or do you say like, okay, we reached playoffs, that's more than you would have ever thought of achieving, and that's fine now, whatever happens?
No, I don't think we are content with coming fourth. We don't want to be the last, like the team to come last of the playoffs. So I think we're definitely aiming to at least get a medal, but possibly, like, realistically push to second, and first is a bit of a long shot at the moment for us because Strong Opinions are so good. But we're obviously going to try beat them.
So, first of all, you're gonna play against Chess Club, and if you win, you're gonna play against Strong Opinions. But I feel like in the end, you're probably gonna play against Chess Club and SDCK at some point because this is in a double elimination bracket. How do you think the direct matchups against these two teams go for you? Do you feel like it is a disadvantage considering Chess Club has been around for that long, or do you just like play it as any other game?
I think we have a better chance of beating Chess Club now that they have Hildreth. And I don't want to be mean to Hildreth, but when we played Chess Club in the season, they had Adiski, and Adiski is quite a big, quite a lot better than Hildreth, to be honest. Interestingly enough, the only games we lost in the season were against Adiski.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Adiski is a strong demo man, but he is backing up for Strong Opinions. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah. It was a bit of a shock for us. Well, on our Strong Opinions official, where he just joined the server, and we're like, oh yeah, he's on the roster, right? So
yeah, I mean, realistically, you would probably maybe have lost to Strong Opinions anyways, even without Adiski's,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna be a demo man that is gonna be asked to work a lot in the playoffs, because Strong Opinions, they have their main demo man, they have Ali. They're probably not gonna need him, because Ali's availability is through the roof. So facing a Disky in the playoffs definitely a thing.
Well,
and he's been doing great.
Well, Chess can't use him anymore, right? Because they've used him 3 times.
Yeah.
No, for playoffs it's different.
Oh, really?
Really?
No, he can. He
Okay.
can play one more.
No,
But-
I was told by, I think it was Moise, that for playoffs it's restarted, so you can use them again 3 times.
Really?
I don't
Wow.
think that's
Yeah.
ever been the case.
Crazy.
Well, Moise told me that, I remember that. He's an admin.
Moist is
Voice
wrong.
confirmed.
Moise is wrong.
He can play. From what I understand, he can play 3, so he can play for you guys again. But he just can't join the roster. Like the limit is 3, so that was the rule that was put into place. It was never said that they reset for playoffs, which I think would be a bit.
It's the first thing I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you look at the teams at the moment. Like I don't think anyone needs a demo. Like you got Shaggy, you got Hildreth, you've got Spelly, and all the teams have got good demos. It's not like any of those demos are consistently absent. I think all of them have played all of the games they've been needed for. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just missed my cue there. So Toucans are aiming for the meta here. STCK Clark, like I said earlier, for me, looking at you guys before the season and how this turned out, your season kind of went disappointing because you actually just won 2 games, heading into playoffs. You lost a lot of really close games. That's why you snagged some points here and there. But only winning 2 games out of your 6 played and reaching playoffs at the 4th spot here, just ahead of your brother team. Are you gonna step up your game? And how are you gonna deal with the cut/loss of Sandwich on heavy?
Well, we already dealt with that, so we don't have to worry about it. We've got Kuna and Sinok, and Sinok is gonna play in the playoffs for us. But yeah, we got the points from every team this season, so like in our minds that means we can potentially beat every team. But that's not always the case, of course, and in playoffs we'll definitely have to step up. I think this team plays really well under pressure, so we'll try our best. We're cautious, but we're optimistic. The last scrims we had, the last couple of weeks are really good. We also got 2 points of strong opinions, so that was a good achievement for us. So we'll definitely do our best in the playoffs, I think, and you haven't seen the best of us yet, that I can tell you.
Yeah, I was gonna touch at it as well. I mean, after a average season in Youth Manage, you're the only guys that actually won a round against strong opinions. How much of a confidence boost is this? And is it we saw the old SDCK or the actual SDCK in that game, as opposed to you kind of slept or you didn't tap into your full potential in the regular season before?
I don't think the game against Strong Opinions was us at our best potential. I think we could have even won the game, but got really unlucky and Strong Opinions played really well. So yeah, the best is definitely ahead in the playoffs. We just need to keep practicing, and hopefully we'll be able to reach grand finals, which was our goal before the season. But again, we're just keeping it cautious but optimistic. That's what I can say.
Okay, moving on. Actually, that's a good segue towards what I want to do next. I said at the beginning already. I wanna go, ask the round here, all of our expert desk participants here. What do you guys think? Who will rank what plays? And I want to hear, we're gonna be between 2nd and 4th place or something. I mean, most of you guys will probably rate Strong Opinions as their obvious favorites, but I'm interested in how you see the places 2 to 4. So I'm gonna start off with CJ here because he has the easiest job. CJ, how do you think teams will rank after everything is said and done? Who's gonna get them juicy medals that now are gonna be distributed by Oyoshi?
I hope we come first, obviously. As for everyone else, I don't know. It really depends on who plays for the teams. Because I think the only team I could name the roster of confidently would be Toucans. I think Toucans could get to the final. It just really depends on maps. So it's going to be really interesting on who picks, because I really do think all the teams are really equal. So I'd say Chess will get to the final, and I would then say, I don't know, maybe Toucans finishing 3rd. But it could be totally flip the other way. It really is equal between all of the teams.
That's really tough between, I think, 2nd and 4th place, but you basically go with the regular season tables.
Yeah, there we go. That's the
Okay. To cut it short, Clark, what do you think? How are you gonna stack up?
Strong Opinions are going to win. We are going to be 2nd, Chess 3rd, and Toucans 4th.
Ooh, that's a confident young man right there. I'd be surprised to hear anything else from Sinrise, mate. What are your predictions?
I think it's gonna be Strong Opinions and Chess Club in the finals, and then Toucans, and then Super Dickman Cannon. Sorry, Clark.
There you go with the CJ regular season prediction right there.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, I mean, CJ is obviously the master of Highlander, even maybe the new king of Highlander. So
we
can't go wrong with
the old
Green
Wolf back. He came back from his crown.
Exactly. Yeah, he he came back from his exile. Mackie, what do you think? Everyone is saying Budget Toucans don't have a shot at the grand finals.
So I think Strong Opinions are going to win, and then honestly, it's so difficult. But if I had to say, I hope that we would get second, and then I'd put SDCK in third with Chess in fourth.
Ooh, Chester in fourth.
Well, I
champions.
haven't played against Chess in ages, so maybe that's unjustified. But
maybe you should scrim them.
We played them. We played them. Our first game is against the Toucans in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, that's why you won't scrim them, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys sort out maps yet?
No.
Nope. Anything at all? No?
I asked him today.
Yeah, we're gonna do it in the near future.
Near future, alright. That's
we're doing it tonight, CJ.
Oh wow.
Oh, it's a bit forward, Clark. Got wine and dine me before you
we're doing it tonight.
The pressure, holy shit. Alright, so that sums up our predictions. So CJ and Sunrise go with the actually regular season tables here. Clark thinks he's gonna make grand finals.
Oh wait, I said SO and Chess in the finals. I didn't say who's gonna be first.
Right. That is my bad. No, that's a good point there. I think everything can happen in the grand finals. Obviously, we saw it when the Strong Opinions won their first title against Chestnut in the finals. I think so. That's a good point. If you have one bad day, everything can be over in the grand finals. But I want to go towards wrapping up the show right here. I don't want to take anyone's time too long. Actually, I want to give everybody an opportunity to give shoutouts to your friends, beloved ones, teammates. I'm gonna start with Mackie here. Do you have any shoutouts, Mackie?
Shout out to my team, and shout out to CJ for doing a lot of casting this season. Which he was probably the best caster. But yeah.
That's debatable. But you're gonna see about that. Clark, do you have any shoutouts?
Yeah, I love them actually, so bear with me please. Okay, so Superkins Canon, Super Dickens Jr., Super Dickens Sensation, Not Only Rocket Slavia, Hentai Hound, Psychas, Kasuk, Bahir, Wuri, Kaylee, Gona, Vilja, Cardsfarts, Kronk, DVS, Firefly, Dave, Food, Arman, Sans Little Heckler, all the casters this season, John, V, Hoofed, and Justinson. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I don't want to sound mean here, but the only name I actually got was my name, so I
got Hentai Hounds or something.
Yeah, those Hentai Hound.
I'm gonna assume you shouted out a lot of people there. But thank you. Sunrise, next shoutout belongs to you.
Shout out to my team and to the VGA community. And
VGA
to everybody.
Community.
Yeah. And everybody involved with the casting here at BlackOut Gaming TV.
Right, the good thing about shoutouts is you don't have to explain yourself, so I'm gonna move right over to CJ. Man, do you have any shoutouts?
Yeah, shout out to my team obviously, and to all the other teams this season for been pretty good with scrims and stuff like that. It's been fun, and to John and Stinton and all the other casters who've made the production and all of this show and stuff like that. On the back end, it's been really good fun, and shout out to everyone watching.
Alright, as we're wrapping things up right now, I personally want to thank my guests, you guys, all the viewers, and John for joining me tonight. My personal shoutouts go to Nightwing. Again, it's a good thing that you don't have to explain your shoutouts. To the Doctors of Mediocrity, to the Highlander people on the WhatsApp group, to anyone who is watching this or live or on YouTube. By the way, you can rewatch this and all our casts from this season and previous seasons on YouTube on the BlackOut channel here, and the link of the videos from the BlackOut Gaming is gonna be in chat right now, so you're gonna check it out. Leave us a subscription, a like, and watch our casts. Shout out to anyone contributing to TF2, ETF2L in any ways. You guys are amazing. Playoffs gonna start next week, with strong opinions against STCK on next Sunday. That is 9th of January, I assume.
Monday, 9th of January.
Monday?
Yeah.
Monday, 9th of January. And maps are gonna be figured out right after this one. So stay tuned for that. And Chest Up Tokens, which is not scheduled yet, so you gotta do that. Anyways, keep checking out ETF2.org for any updates. Follow ETF2 on Twitter at ETF2L. Stay tuned for everything. Once again, this has been BlackOut TV. It was a pleasure to lead you guys through the evening. Bye. Have a great party on Saturday and a happy new year, guys. See you all in 2017.